So a lot of times when we hear the word net worth, all we think about is money. Oh, that guy's net worth is 50 million, 200 million, 3 million, 600,000, because we measure based on money, but we don't think about how does somebody increase their net worth? Well, you need the right relationships. How do you get the right relationship to the level of depth with the connection and value for it to turn into the kind of net worth that you have today? So all of this goes into think about the 5 most valuable relationships you have in your life today. Think about those 5. You may say a wife, a husband, friend, partner, business partner, whatever it is. Before they became as valuable as they are today to be in your 5, what caused it to get to that level when you first met them? Okay, so go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 8 years ago, 3 years ago. What happened for them to be in your top 5? We're gonna talk about that today. And by the way, if you get value from this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let me get right into it. So we see Tom Brady and Gronk. Oh my God, they're so great together. I bet they've been best friends since day one. They've probably never had friction. Look at Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. What a great partnership. Man, Steve Jobs and Johnny Ive, phenomenal relationship. Tim Duncan and Popovich. Inside the NBA, TNT, Shaq, Barkley, Kenny Smith, these guys are phenomenal together. What we don't see behind closed doors, how did these relationships get into how it is today? This is what is going to happen 100% of the time when a relationship gets deeper is when they overcome friction together, okay? Friction is a byproduct of great, deeper relationships. Here's what happens. One time the New England Patriots practice off-season, all these medias there. Next thing you know, the biggest fight breaks out. Everybody's talking about, oh my God, the New England Patriots are off to a bad start. There's a lot of infighting going on. Practice ends. Media goes to Bill Belichick. So Bill, what do you need to do to unify this team? It seems like everybody's fighting each other. This is the worst we've ever seen. The Patriots going into the season. How are you going to fix this? He says, fix what? All the infighting. He says, if we're this competitive against each other, I feel sorry for their opponents on what they're going to do to them, because this is getting them to be closer and tighter. Bill Belichick understood you need friction to get the team to be closer together. Sometimes there's many stories where great coaches create accidental friction to create a bond within the team. This has happened there's many stories I don't need to go into here. Every one of the friendships and relationships I talk about today, it'll come down to this. But here's the kicker. When you go through it, you'll learn a lot about everybody. You'll learn how you handle friction. You'll learn how your approach is a good approach during times of friction. You'll learn if the other person is willing and values this relationship. I'm like, I don't give a shit. No problem. And there's no value there versus saying, no, listen, I'm not happy. Here's a conversation, but man, I want to make this work because I want to be in business with you long term, because I want us to be friends long term, because I want to be with you long term. We got to figure this thing out, but there's a moment of friction here. One night, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm with Mario in the Rolls Royce. This is the story he always tells. This was a very awkward moment of friction that he told it in one of his videos that he did, where he was going through a certain challenge. We had this one moment together. That could have been the last day him and I ever worked together. It's a very, very sensitive moment of friction that we had together. There's another guy who was in business. I've been in business for a long time. One day I asked him to meet me at the Northridge parking lot, and we had a 3-hour conversation together. That was friction, but I had to tell him what was on my mind. And I said, you don't need to agree with anything. I said, I just want you to hear me out. Give me 3 hours. I'll never say it to you ever again. You'll be left alone. That led to a moment of breakthrough. He and I shared that moment together. There's another guy I can tell a story about. We're in Lake Tahoe one time. Something happened to his family. We're in the theater room of this house I had rented, and he's in tears crying. I've seen this guy cry 5 times. And I watched him and I said, man, this guy's going through it right now. There was friction. There was challenges. In order for relationships to get deeper, running mate, spouse, father-son, mom-daughter, father-daughter, it doesn't matter, you and your mom or dad, that only happens when you guys go through a moment of friction, but both parties are willing to get through that moment and understanding together. If you can do that and have mutual respect while we're doing this, what you don't know that's happening on a leader's bulletin statistically, that relationship went from a level 1 to a level 2.5. 3 months later, you guys experienced something again, you just went from a 2.5, you overcame that, you go to 4.2. Next time you have another friction together, this time it wasn't handled well, you go for a 2.8. Next time you go through it again, I don't give a shit, you go to a 1.7. That's exactly how these things are happening. So in my life, I have a lot of valuable relationships. I was in the military, I realized which one of my friends were actually fully wanting to have a long-term relationship to them. For the rest of my life, I'm gonna pour into those guys that did what they did for me. I'll never forget in 1997, I'm in the military, I'm all by myself, and I had all these friends that I thought were like very, very close friends. And all of a sudden you go to the military, come back, and say, man, That guy was a friend, man. He was with me through thick and thin. That I would never guess she would have been there. Him, unbelievable. But you almost need those times to realize who has your back. It's unfortunate, it's painful, it's crazy, but it is a filtering process that's required to go through times of friction. So anyways, if this was a message you needed to hear for you to realize maybe you just went through friction in a relationship that maybe you didn't handle the right way, if you really value that relationship, great relationships are very hard, very hard to come across. If you had a moment like that, maybe you ought to make a phone call. Set aside your ego, okay? Say, I gotta make that one work. Or if you're on the complete opposite side, you gotta say, you know, this is somebody that's really making an effort. I want to sit down and have a conversation with these guys and actually tell them how I didn't like this thing was handled and hash it out. Because say, I know this person wants good for me. I know this is somebody that I love to have in my life for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Let me make that phone call. Once again, just like in life, great opportunities don't come along all the time. They're only going to come across a handful of times. Great friendships and relationships and business relationships, oh my God, they don't come across all the time. Water them, value them, protect them. Very hard to find. Once again, if you got value from the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Got another video I want you to watch as well. I did a video 6-7 years ago titled How to Choose Great Friends. If you've never seen this video, click here to watch it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.